Anyone who thinks the Los Angeles Chargers have been sitting idle this offseason is very wrong. While most analysts expected the franchise to make an aggressive move in the traditional free agency market, especially with the impressive $90 million available under the salary cap, the board decided to follow an alternative, but not at all passive path. What we saw was a bold, quiet strategy that could yield huge results in the medium and long term. Heavy investment in college free agents not selected in the draft. According to data from Spotrac, the Chargers were simply the sixth team that spent the most on these players in the entire NFL, coming very close to exhausting the pool allowed for signing bonuses. And this was no coincidence. It is a clear sign that the new regime led by Jim Harbaugh is looking for value and potential where other teams only see gambles. A true excavation for diamonds in the rough. And the names that have arrived in Los Angeles are not just going through the motions. On the contrary, several of these young talents are already attracting attention in training and gaining space in the internal analyses of the coaching staff. The biggest standout so far is running back Raheem "Rocket" Sanders from the University of South Carolina, who is already emerging as one of Harbaugh's favorites, receiving public praise for his explosiveness, versatility, and vision of the game. Sanders could even surprise and secure a spot in the final 53rd. Another who has shown promise is wide receiver Luke Grimm, formerly of Kansas, who has been standing out on intermediate routes and showing chemistry with the team's backup quarterbacks. In the same vein, tight end Stevo Klotz from Iowa State is being praised for his physicality and effort in blocking, even though he is little known on the national scene. But perhaps the most curious name on the list is former Florida State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. Having also played for Clemson, he arrives as a kind of emergency insurance for the position. But he can be developed as a special offensive package or even used in alternative formations. Harbaugh is known for his appreciation of athletic players with strong college experience, and DJ could fit that bill perfectly. While it's unlikely that all of these young players will make the final roster, the message from the front office is direct and powerful. The Chargers' rebuilding effort doesn't depend solely on big names, but rather on finding pieces that fit into the new competitive project. The approach may seem unusual, but it reveals a different mindset, focused on culture, effort, and internal development, fundamental pillars of what Harbaugh wants to implement in Los Angeles. While many fans still expect big names, perhaps the secret lies precisely in these quiet bets. After all, great revolutions often begin with discrete steps. Despite having lifted the Vince Lombardi Trophy with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024, Jordan Davis's future with the franchise is more uncertain than ever. And it's no exaggeration to say that the defender, a first-round pick in the 2022 draft, is on the hook for a possible trade during the 2025 regular season. The reason? A performance well below expectations, coupled with a considerable impact on the team's salary cap. In the 3 years he's been in the NFL so far, Davis has failed to justify the investment made by the Eagles. His numbers tell a worrying story for a player drafted with such high expectations. Just 27 tackles, 1 sack, 2 pass deflections, and 1 fumble recovery. For a defender with size, strength, and college pedigree like him, coming from mighty Georgia, those numbers are disappointing. Even more so considering that his contract represents $12.9 million in the Eagles' cap space in 2025. With this, the possibility of a trade is growing, especially considering the current situation of the Philadelphia franchise. This offseason, the team gave up big names like C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Darius Slay, showing that it has no qualms about revamping important sectors. The logic is simple. If it is possible to make room on the roster and, at the same time, recover value in exchange for players who are not performing as expected, why not do it? And that is where the Los Angeles Chargers come in, who may find in Jordan Davis a tailor-made solution for a sector that is going through a delicate transition. After the departure of Morgan Fox and Poona Ford, the defensive line lost depth and physical strength, something that is crucial within the proposal of new coach Jim Harbaugh, who wants to build a dominant, old-school defense that is physical and tough in the trenches. Currently, the Chargers have Tear Tart and veteran Deshaun Hand as their bets to hold down the middle of the defensive line. However, there are uncertainties regarding the consistency of these names throughout the season. In this context, Jordan Davis appears as a possible valuable reinforcement. Even without outshining, he offers a rare body in the league, 1.98 meters tall and over 150 kilograms, as well as experience in big games and playoffs. Harbaugh is known for recovering talent and getting the best out of underrated players. Under his tutelage, Davis could rediscover the form that made him one of the most feared defenders in college football. The coaching match makes sense, and the financial opportunity could align for the Chargers if the Eagles are willing to negotiate part of his salary or accept a package of picks commensurate with the risk. This possible move would not be just another trade, it would be the Chargers' chance to put a real train in the center of their defensive line. And if Davis reaches even half of his original potential, Harbaugh could have the anchor he needs to solidify his defense in Los Angeles. With a rebuild almost inevitable after a disappointing season of just 3 wins in 2024, the Cleveland Browns are starting to open their doors to trade proposals. And one of the teams most attentive to this movement is precisely the Los Angeles Chargers, who see a perfect window of opportunity to strengthen their offensive line, one of the team's weakest areas. The relationship of needs and offers between the two franchises aligns almost surgically, creating the ideal scenario for negotiation that benefits both sides. On the Chargers side, the concern about the performance of the quarterback's protection is real. The team bet on Bradley Bozeman last offseason, but the result was well below expectations. According to Pro Football Focus, PFF, Bozeman had a grade of just 52.3 in pass protection, ranking 53rd among the 64 qualified centers in the league, an alarming number for a unit that should protect one of the team's most important assets, the quarterback. Even with the arrival of the versatile Andre James, capable of playing center or guard, and the promising but inconsistent Mekhi Becton, the Chargers are still betting big, and with risk, on a position change for Zion Johnson to the center of the offensive line. This adaptation could work, but it requires time, synergy, and luck with injuries. In other words, it is not a guarantee of stability. In light of this scenario, the Chargers management is starting to look at external alternatives, and that is exactly where the Browns come in, who have one of the deepest offensive lines in the NFL, but who now have ready Andri Desestre, Fori Omboindri, Andri Desainen, Yuwain Younger Sestasain, younger replacements to begin their rejuvenation process. Zach Zinter, selected in the 3rd round of the 2024 draft, and Tevin Jenkins, signed in free agency, are players ready to compete for a starting spot, allowing Cleveland to trade valuable veterans and lighten its payroll. The Chargers' targets are clear and experienced. Wyatt Teller, 30, and Joel Bitonio, 33, both with contracts expiring at the end of the 2025 season. And more than just seasoned veterans, they are names that carry weight. Teller was an All-Pro and participated in the Pro Bowl in 2023, while Bitonio, one of the most respected guards in the NFL, was a Pro Bowler in 2024. The proposals are outlined. Trade for Wyatt Teller, the Chargers would send a 5th-round pick in 2026 and a 6th-round pick in 2027, 2027. In exchange, they would receive Teller and a 7th-round pick in 2026, recovering a pick they had lost in the trade for Elijah Molden last offseason. Trade for Joel Bitonio. In this case, the Chargers would offer a 6th-round pick in 2026 in exchange for a veteran player on an expiring contract who still has gas in the tank to deliver 1 or 2 more high-level seasons. For the Browns, the deal makes sense. They trade veteran players for draft capital, reduce the financial impact on the salary cap, and still gain space to develop their young prospects. Meanwhile, the Chargers fill one of the biggest holes in the roster with reliable, experienced names ready to contribute immediately. It's one of those trades that, on paper, benefits both sides, especially if the Chargers are determined to protect their quarterback and maintain a cohesive, physical, and reliable offensive line. With Jim Harbaugh in charge and the team looking for stability in the trenches, this trade could be exactly what's needed to align talent, experience, and urgency at a key position for success in 2025.